My name's Spencer Watson. If you want to see the greatest Super Bowl dish ever made, watch this video. Omaha! Omaha!
Quarterback has the ball, there's the throw, and the catch. Touchdown!
It's the Doritos Taco Pie and it all starts now. So a pie has a base, and in this case, I'm gonna do a tortilla, but I'm gonna make a fresh tortilla using masa. If you've never made your own fresh tortillas, they're so simple. It's like three things. And it's all about the feeling. You wanna get a lot of that corn flour in there, and this is your chance to give it some flavor. So I like to do a big pinch of salt because that's gonna make it taste nice. And I was at the grocery store the other day and I found Cholula makes taco seasoning. What? That's going in there to give it a little kiss of taco flavor. Whew, that's gonna be so good. And warm water. So this is all about feeling. You want a nice wet dough that kind of crumbles. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. Just mix that taco seasoning in and then start with a little bit of warm water. And then just move your hands around till the dough starts to form. So if you've made it too wet, you can add a little bit more of the masa in, or if it's too dry, just add a bit more water. This is how I know the dough is done. We take a little bit, roll it into a ball, and I like to squish it. And if you squish it and it just starts to crumble on the outside like that, but it still holds together and it's nice and smooth, that's when you know it's done. So what I like to do is just roll it into a little ball. Well, it's a big ball. And let it sit. You wanna let that warm water activate it a little bit. You want that salt and the spices to kind of just give the masa dough a nice big hug. This is perfect. So that's how you make your own fresh tortilla. So you can take a little ball of that, press your own tacos. I'm using it for a pie shell. It smells wickedly delicious. And I bet you didn't know this, but this is gluten-free, it's vegetarian, and it's super delicious. All right, that's the base. Now on to the taco beef. I gotta wash my hands. I put a piece of plastic wrap on the top just to keep all the moisture in. We all love taco beef, and there's a way to do it. I've come up with the best way to make the creamiest, most delicious taco beef, and I can't wait to share it with you. So mine starts with white onion, nice crushed up garlic, and a poblano pepper. It's not super spicy, but it's got a lot of depth and flavor. So the first job is to chop this stuff up. This is gonna give regular ground beef some really delicious flavor. So to start the ground beef, I'm gonna get it in a pan with a nice shot of oil and get some caramelization to start. Then I'm gonna beat it up and add the veg. This is nice. There's a little smoke point here. That means that's gonna give this color, and color equals flavor. It's super easy to beat up the ground beef if you use a whisk or a potato masher. I like a fine crumble in a taco beef, and this is how you can get it done, with a whisk. So once the taco meat is beat up and it's slightly brown, now it's time for some flavor engagement. So in with all of the veg, and I like to just sit it on top. Ground beef is great, it's got a little fat in it. It's gonna release that fat out into the pan, and then that's gonna help cook the veg. So in with the poblano, the onion, and the garlic. Let's talk about some real flavor. Beef and salt, they're best friends. This is the chance to give it some really good flavor. So a couple big pinches of salt, and you can make your own taco seasonings, but I found this Cholula stuff, I'm using it, put it in there. You want a lot, you wanna make it taste delicious. Get that in there. All right, now just fold all of that stuff in gently together and let that veg cook out a bit. This taco beef isn't done, I'm just getting started. This smells super delicious, but I really like a creamy meat, something with a lot of texture, and there's a couple ways to do that. My favorite way is plain old tomato sauce. That's gonna mix with all the spices and the taco vibes. So step one, for getting it really nice and creamy, put tomato sauce in it. It smells so good. And my other liquid of choice, hot sauce, taco sauce. It's so good. It's delicious. It's spicy. It's got tang. That's going to go so good in the beef. And then depending on how spicy you like it, you can either really lean into it or just kiss it. When you cook ground beef, it can be pretty dry, but if you put in a little bit of tomato and a little bit of hot sauce with all the spices and it cooks down, it gets this ragu tight creaminess to it. It makes the best taco beef. Turn it down and just let it simmer till that reduces and it becomes nice and thick. Let this cook down and then on to the masa dough. This has had a second to chill out. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna use a taco press to form it and then line the inside of the pan. But I got a couple tips and tricks for you. One, you need to get some parchment paper, or you could cut open a plastic bag. This makes it non-stick when you're pressing tortillas or making a Doritos Taco Pie. Amazing. So open this up. I like to get one sheet down, and then for tacos, you could be pretty even with your portions of dough, but I'm lining this with the dough. So just form it into a ball. I like to give it a little squish first, and then put the other paper on top, and then form it. Boom. This is great. This dough works really nice when it can get nice and crispy. So what I like to do is just brush the inside of the pie pan with some oil. Any oil will do, just a good shot. This is gonna help the base get really nice and crispy, and then just take a brush and get it around all the sides on the bottom. That's gonna give you a crispy, nice crust as it cooks. Then you can just take your little taco, put it in the pie shell, give it some room at the top, lay it down, and just keep doing that. I'm gonna press tortillas and fill this whole thing so it has a big wall coming up the sides. It's nice and flat, and then that oil, when it bakes, is gonna get really nice and crispy. Love that texture. It's the taco pie everyone's talking about. Okay, let's press it, grip it, rip it. So once all the tortillas are laid in it, you can really use your hand and flatten it out and make sure that you have a good base. You can even rip some off and then push that again to build the sides, and it becomes really quite smooth. You just want to take your time and make it look really nice. Make sure that tortilla comes up the side of the pan. There's no gaps. So just take a minute, make it look really nice and pretty. If you need to get more dough and fill a hole, you can get more dough, fill the hole, press it down. You'll never be able to tell once it's cooked, but you want a nice base. All right, that's the shell that you want. This is the most amazing, crispy, crunchy shell after it bakes, and it tastes like the best tortilla that you've ever had. I take some of the leftover oil and just brush the inside of it because it helps it stay really nice and crispy. If I need some more oil, get it on there, then it's almost ready for the oven. So this masterpiece is gonna get baked twice. Once I'm gonna bake it like this because I want to get crispy on the bottom and I want it to set. Then I'm gonna fill it with the layers, bake the cheese onto it. So bake number one into an oven around 350 till it gets really nice and crispy. Oh, and cool down the taco beef. That's pretty important. 90% of that beef is cooling. The other 10% wet my face hole. The shell's cooking. Then this dish is all about crazy layers. Refried beans have to go in there. But these aren't just any refried beans. I like doctoring them up. I like giving them a little kiss. Blue 42, let's go. Spiciness works really good in this dish. So I'm gonna hit it with a little bit of chipotle. There's just some liquid in there. This is a smoked pepper. It's so good. This can be spicy, so just a little bit goes a long way. If you like to have a bit of kick, go in there because it's gonna be topped with like fresh lettuce and sour cream and cheese. So get the chipotle. You know what? I'm going in one more time. Just get lots of chipotle in there. And then a bit of freshness, some cilantro, chop it up. You know, there's honestly something so magical about Super Bowl Sunday. From the teams, it's the finest football played all year. It's the Apple halftime show. It's the celebrities. There's nothing quite as big as an event as Super Bowl Sunday. And the cheerleaders. Oh. Who's playing? Don't even care. Just kidding.
Welcome to my party. We're just getting started. A life is a dream or a nightmare scarring. Hand me a drink, cause I think I'm going all in. Get me a shrink who can catch me when I'm falling. Cover up my scars, flip the handlebars, crashing in my car.
Refried beans are delicious on their own, but then you add in a little bit of spiciness, a little tanginess with the chipotle, and some coriander to kind of brighten it up. It's pretty good stuff. All right, let's check out the taco pie. Was that football or what was that? Hey-o! That looks pretty good. The edges are getting really nice and crispy and a shell has formed, which is great. The middle is going to be a little bit puffy, but that's okay. And I cook this on the middle shelf. And then when I go to bake it for the second time, I go on the bottom. But if you can turn it, it's a pretty good start. Let it cool just a little bit, and then we'll start to layer. Completely out of breath from dangling myself out of my pants.
Wow.
So the first thing that's going to go into this crazy taco pie is the refried beans. So get a couple good dollops in the bottom of the pie and then spread it out nice and evenly. That's perfect for the first layer. You want to pat it down, smooth it out, and then it's ready for the beef. Same thing, big pile, smooth it out so it's nice and flat, and then some really fun garnishes. Love the creaminess of this beef, putting the tomatoes and the hot sauce in. Look at how shiny it is, and it's so nice and creamy. That's kind of like that drive-through taco beef that you get when it's nice and moist and delicious. That's the secret right there. That's the move. Okay, a couple things to garnish it, and then we're getting to the Doritos. One, I'm gonna put some queso on it, because why not? It's Super Bowl Sunday. This thing should be epic. So get the queso layered all over that beautiful creamy beef. For the Doritos, get a rolling pin and just bash them up. I open one side of the bag so the air can get out and just go along and bash them up into a nice little crumble. That's perfect. I'm gonna use the Doritos for two applications. One, I'm gonna get it on there, cover it in cheese and bake it, and then I'm gonna garnish with some. That's why I crunched up the whole bag. Get it on there on top of the queso, cheese, and then bake it. This looks crazy. Look at this thing. This is the craziest Super Bowl dish ever. Get it in the oven, bake it so the cheese is nice and crumbly on top, and I'm not done yet. I got a ton of garnishes for this. It already looks so good. You know it's done when it looks like this. Look at how crispy that cheese is. So great. And the tops of the masa dough, the tortilla dough, are really nice and crispy, but do not cut into this right now. You want to let it sit for just a minute, and then I'm going to garnish it. It makes me so happy. That is an epic game day eat. Look at the crust. It's tortilla, the freshest, nicest tortilla you've ever had. And then layers of spicy ground beef, refried beans, queso, crushed up Doritos, and then freshness. That's my favorite part about a taco. The lettuce, the tomato, the fresh cheese, the sour cream. This thing is Super Bowl worthy. Look at it.